Okay, so this is for the All Nationalities playlist on YouTube. I'm going to talk about mixing mud and sand and different cements and lime. Crucial part. I've been called out to a few jobs recently to see if I can fix up some mortar issues, and the issues came about because when the mud was dried, one particular job had about 3 or 4 different coloured mortars on a finished product. About 24 units. It was an absolute schmozzle and mess. I really want to put up photos and videos of it, but I don't want to focus on the negative stuff and start bagging stuff. I just want to try and help improve stuff. So mud should really be mixed, especially if you're new to the game, in volume. So when we're mixing mortar, we don't use weight. Some of the instructions you'll see on a cement bag talk about, every 20 kilograms of cement you do this and you do that. But when you're mixing your mortar, you should be putting it in buckets. So let's imagine these are buckets or tubs or containers, and then you get everything of a consistent volume, and that's really important in mixing your mortar so that every batch comes out the same. Yeah, that's what this bucket batching is all about. It's controlling your product. And your product that you're making is the mortar, and that's a product that every bricklayer has to make. Everything else is made for you guys. The bricks are made, the wall ties are made, the clouts are made, the screws are made, everything's made. The one thing bricklayers make every single day is the mortar. That's what you produce. You manufacture the mortar, and you've got to get it right. Otherwise, your business suffers. The builder suffers, the client suffers, the brick cleaner suffers, everybody suffers. So the one thing you have to nail is your mortar, especially. And how you do that is bucket batching. Now, I know people will whinge and complain it takes longer, it takes this. Once you know how to bucket batch properly and you become experienced, then you might be able to revert back to just putting sand in your mixer and a specific amount of cement into your mixer, because you'll be experienced at it and you'll know what you're doing. But if you don't know and you're new to it, or you think you know but you're still having problems with your mortar, then this is what you need to do. So bucket batching is crucial. A lot of guys these days are going 5 sand to 1 cement, and that's okay. That's well within the Australian standards. The Australian standards say 6 sand, 1 cement, 1 lime. Nobody puts, not that I'm aware of anyhow, nobody puts 6 sand, 1 cement and 1 full lime in, because it generally comes out way too sticky. So most people start, especially when they're starting a job, they might have their 6 sand and their 1 cement. That's crucial. They might start off with a quarter of lime or a half of lime and see how that batch comes out. And if it's still not quite right, they need more lime, then they might put in 3/4 of a lime or a whole lime, depending on the sand. And that's how that usually works. Over my time, I've found about a quarter to a third to a half of lime usually makes a nice mud. I'm not a fan of the fake limes. What's the term for them? I'm not a fan of the synthetic limes. However, some people use them. I'll go into that in a lot of detail later. Additives for mortar, the good and the bad. Having additives in your mud, I really believe lime is a good thing and crucial. Another thing, probably for another video too, is once you know what your mix is on your particular job and you've got it sorted out and you're making nice workable mud and you know what your lime content is, then with this powdered lime, hydrated lime, people get annoyed because of the dust and the powder. It's quite harsh to deal with. But when you know what your mix is, 6, 1 and a half or 3/4, when you're using your lime, so when you get on top of your mix, you can start putting this with water the night before, in buckets or tubs. So you can mix little tubs or bigger tubs put your lime in for one batch, or and then put some water in and stir it up. Get a nice creamy, milky mix going, and let it sit overnight. And that starts activating the lime. And you will find that lime that has sat overnight and then stirred up again in the morning in water, and it could be the same amount of water, or a little bit less actually, than you're usually putting in a whole batch of mud, will produce a really nicer mix of mud in the end. So you'll end up with some nice, creamy, workable mortar. Okay, so I'm trying not to go for too long. Anyhow, I've got 6 sand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 cement, half a lime. There's different types of cement you can use. I'm going to go into a bit of detail about the cement. That's hydrated lime. I've got them in tubs, just so you don't, because I don't want to go talking about different producers, who makes what. That's really common. Or that synthetic lime. Once again, not a fan of that. Can't beat this stuff. Well, you can get lime putties and stuff, but that's a different story. GP cement gets used a lot. GB cement used to get used more back in the day, I think, than it does now. There are big benefits with GB cement, general builders and GP cement. What I want to point out is, firstly, they're different colours, right? GP cement is darker, GB cement is lighter, and they will dry that way, so it will affect the end result of your mortar once it's mixed. Yeah, so if you start a job with GB, you need to continue using GB through that whole job. Otherwise the mortar colour will change. You can't use GB and then go to GP. And likewise, you can't start a job with GP and then switch over to GB. Most people know this, but this once again is for all nationalities bricklaying. Any brickie in Australia, no matter where you're from. And if you're new to the industry, this stuff is crucial to know. Lime, GP, GB, and you're mixing ratios and doing it, learning how to bucket batch first. Okay, so what I'd like everybody to do is to Google GP versus GB and learn about the different types of cement yourselves. There's many benefits to GB. GP is really common and has its place, and GB also has its place. I think GB is really good during the summer months also, the warmer months. So I've just written a few notes just to remind myself of what to talk about. So what I want you to do is to Google GP versus GB. Go on, do it and learn something. There's many benefits in using GB cement. It's got a lot higher long-term strength and durability. It's more environmentally friendly than GP, and GB is more resistant to chemical attack. Where have I got that? To chemical attack. GB is good in summer and warmer conditions when you don't want your mortar drying out too quick. If you start with GB on a job, then you must continue with GB on the same job because of the way it dries, the colour. So you can't start with GB and then get... I've talked about that. Don't just take my word on it, Google it and learn about it yourself. Okay, GB cement. I'm not selling GB cement, but I do know the benefits of using GB cement. And you should too. Alright, so that's about 9 minutes worth. I think I'll stop there because everybody gets sick and tired of me after about 5 minutes, I think. Some of the analytics I'm seeing on YouTube, I think people get sick and tired of me after about 30 seconds. Anyhow, I'm going to stop here and there'll be another part to this. There'll be quite a few videos today. Just because I've got work lined up next week, so I want to get some stuff out there this week, and today's Thursday. Okay, so this, let's call this part, I don't even know what part I'm up to. To be continued. Enjoy. Adios. Ciao.